Alright, today we're having a special look at Short and Sweet by LittleBigPanda. Alright, so here we are in Short and Sweet by LittleBigPanda, double underscore. Gotta remember that double underscore because there is a LittleBigPanda 1 who is a completely different creator. I'm liking the look of it so far. I saw this pop up on Reddit, and I'm always a big fan of first-time levels, like the depth there. That is really cool. Not a super huge fan that the ground is grabbable, but you know, that's one of those things that kind of gets to me sometimes. Hopefully it's not going to come up and kill us, because that does happen sometimes with the grabbable ground. I apologize that my voice is a little bit cruddier than usual. It is 2 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep. So now I want that. You are a thing and I want you, but I don't. Okay, it says X. Oh, there's a bounce pad. That's a little bit tough to see. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, wait, what? Well, why do I want to do that? I mean, I guess maybe it'll. I thought that you would. I don't know why I thought you'd be able to jump on the sugar cube. Nice rotating sugar cube, by the way there. That's a pretty cool effect. I'm really digging on the presentation. I know that's like one of my go-tos for talking about levels, but I do tend to focus a lot on presentation. Very visually oriented, and for a first-time levels, it's very nicely presented. Not like look. I know I'm dying poorly, taking a couple crummy deaths. It is 2 o'clock in the morning though, and oh god, no way. How seldom do we see actual like limited life checkpoints in levels? I kind of love it, but it does nice spoon. It is a bit spoopy. It puts a little bit of pressure on. I would like a checkpoint. Thank you. Love that. How do I feel? Like, gameplay is not too bad so far. It's not as difficult as I'm making it look because I'm just playing like crap. Good choice of music. Some really cool little bits in our design. I feel like you should be able to grab that. That seems like it should be a grabbable thing. I don't. Wait, what? Wait, what? What? Is that what? It just kind of ended like that? That's. I mean, it is short and sweet. That's kind of weird. We're gonna. I didn't not like it, but we are gonna talk about it back at the hub, and we'll see you there. See yas. And we're back, and Short and Sweet by LittleBigPanda double underscore, and I'd say it's a bit of a softer yellow square, but it is a really good first level from a first-time creator. Although, as LittleBigPanda's creator page tells us, they are a LBP veteran, so probably a lot of experience playing the levels to come into play when making this one. But I think even grading on that kind of softer grading curve that we would use for first-time creator, this is a really nice level. It's a very solid level. There's not like really too much negative to say about it. There's also like not a super lot of positive to say about it because it is just like very short. It is very compacted. In my 4th playthrough or so, I got it down to about like a minute 45 seconds to get through the entire level. So like there's not like a lot there, but it is really quick. You could give it a couple of plays without any trouble and fitting it into your play session. So that's kind of appreciated. That's kind of cool to kind of focus on positive points, and something that I mentioned a number of times in the first impressions section there is I just really liked the presentation of this level. I'm not generally a super huge fan of the kind of food style material choices, the material sets that we get in LittleBigPlanet. A lot of times I find them, particularly like that cookie material, to be a little bit overly detailed, a little bit too busy. But I think they're put to really good use here, and I think it helps that the lighting is turned down and the color grade is turned down just a little bit so it's not so over bright. I noticed the frosting material a lot of times can look really, really over bright and wash out details, and we don't get that here. Some really nice choices there in the lighting and the coloring choices, so like that was really, really cool. I appreciated the depth in the level, especially a couple of bits early on where you've got like holes cut into the layer that's forming the background, and you've got like a second or third layer in the back there that's going on, and I thought like it looked really cool. It was a really good effect. I liked some of the decoration rotating that we see in that like the pool of chocolate bit where we've got the little bit of actual platforming that goes on in the level. Like all the rotating stuff there, that was like really, really cool. I really appreciated that. One thing that did kind of trip me up a little bit in that department though is because some of the square bubbles that you can get are like objects that you interact with, and then sometimes they're just objects that you don't interact with, and it can be a little bit like which is which, like that popcorn that we saw towards the end of the level. To me, like my brain meats were like, hey, that's gonna be points, and it wasn't points, and it's not like a big deal or anything, but I think that if the level had been bigger, we might have wanted a little bit more consistency in there, that, you know, food objects that are in the player's field would be things that you could actually get points from. But that is, like, it is a really, really minor point against. So, like, positive sides, it's just very charming, it looks nice, it's easy to play, and that's kind of edging a little bit into the negative. Now, one issue with the level being as short as it is that none of the gameplay elements really have time to breathe. You've only got like very little platforming that actually goes on in the level. You've got the bits with the cookie, and they rotate, and you can grab on them, and you get on top, you can jump over across, or you can just like hang on with the rotation and jump off that way. And then you've got like actually a little bit of tricky platforming when you're on those lollipops towards the end of that section, and that's like really it as far as kind of platforming challenge. Now, I did die there a couple of times, but as I mentioned in the video, I was recording at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's 3 o'clock in the morning now, so that was feeding into it. It's really not a difficult section, but I think that the gameplay could definitely be expanded. Just having the player do a little bit more, have a couple more sections like that, maybe with graded difficulty, would be pretty cool. We've got a little bit of climbing after that section, and again, it's like there's just that little bit, and you know, if you're gonna add stuff in, then kind of expand it on a little bit more. Now, like LittleBigPlanet may have just been feeling out how to fit all these things together. We may see longer levels from them in the future, but yeah, like definitely expanded gameplay in the areas that you want the players to be doing. So if you're gonna have like a lot of jumping type platforming, then have a lot of jumping type platforming. If you're gonna have climbing, then have more climbing. So that would be one thing that I would say, just like expansion on the ideas that are presented here. Another small point that I found in presentation was the signposting in the level. So you've got like that one section where there's just like an X, a sticker material X that's floating there. And that's a little bit of a weird one, because the actual signposting is not where you would be using the X, which is the layer launcher. You can see the layer launcher. It's a little bit tricky to see, and that may have been why LittleBigPlanet put that in there, just to like let the players know something is going to be there, so the players don't get stuck. But like, then you've got the climbing section, and there's the R1 signposting, and again, it's just sticker material. Now, like, this is not a real-world presented level, so you're not really quite so worried about making your signage kind of be immersive in the environment, but even still, like, making it a little bit more interesting looking. I just kitted up some really simple stuff in my test bed with a bit of dephysicalized cardboard material with some sticker material of different sizes that they would cycle in and out on a timer and a selector to give it a little bit of animation, just to look a little bit more interesting. And that's kind of in my style, because I really like cardboard, and I probably would have done that, the sticker material bits in cardboard as well, if I had a little bit more time to work with it. This was just whipped up really, really quick, but like something that would fit into the short and sweet environment here, something maybe food related or something. So it's just like the sticker material that Little Big Panda has used here, it looks really out of place for the environment, and I think that could have been done a little bit better. Now, the way that the level ends, and I did mention in the video because it was a real surprise that the level was going to end there. There was no like build up to the ending. There was nothing that like really indicated that the level was getting wrapped up, and I do think that that's something that we want players, that there's kind of like a bell curve where, you know, it starts out a little bit soft, it starts out a little bit smooth, it builds up in intensity and difficulty. It doesn't have to be like a really sharp or really super difficulty, but you do want kind of like a building difficulty, and then coming down a little bit so that the player has had an experience and is ready for the level to be ended. And here it's like the level just ends, like it's just a dead surprise end. So I do think that a little bit of a come down into that ending, but also about the ending, because of the logic that's been used to actually make the level end. There's no scoreboard there, there's no adventure board there, which isn't like really an issue, except what that means is that it's not tracking the level as being completed. So when you go to the stats page and like the scoreboard page of the level select, and there's no information there because that nobody has technically completed that level, which makes it kind of like the level's advertising that there's 3,000 points. So there's kind of like a goal there, right? You expect players would want to compete against each other to see like, well, I got the 3,000 points, so I'm the top of the scoreboard. But nobody can see that because there's no ending. So like, even if it's a teleporter to just like a room with a scoreboard in it, hopefully a room decorated in the style of Short and Sweet, but like so that the level actually ends, so that players can actually get up on the scoreboard and see how they've done compared to other players. I think that would be pretty good. I've actually talked a lot more about the level than the level is actually in length, so sorry if I talk too much. Little Big Panda, it was really cool that you shared this with us on Reddit, and I'm really glad I got an opportunity to take a look at this. The Little Big Archives episode for this won't be coming out until January, because same issue that we had with this being a B-side last week, this is a B-side this week. But I gotta go, I've talked too much. I had a great time with this, thank you for sharing. Everybody take a look at it, it's really kind of neat. And from me, Nisco here in Tokyo, to all of you out there wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.